Hi, CSM. My name's Maya, and I have a little devotional for you on peace. In this series, we're talking about answering the call that God has placed in our lives. And for some of us, including me, it can stir up some fear, some anxiety, some doubt, and uncertainty. You know, the list goes on. And when we're called something out of our comfort zones or something new, it can be really scary. It can be difficult to find peace and for us and just trust in what the Lord wants to do. And the problem is that sometimes we're so focused on our weaknesses and our shortcomings that we can't focus on what the Lord wants to do in His power. So a perfect example of this is in Exodus 3 and 4 in Moses' story everyone knows. The Lord calls Moses out of the familiar to something amazing and to something new. And the Lord shows Moses these signs and wonders, giving him these instructions of what he has to do. And then you see in Exodus 3 that he starts to fear and become anxious and, starts doubting himself. And you see in verse 1, "But behold, they will not believe me or listen to my voice, for they will say, 'The Lord did not appear to you.'" And then he says in verse 10, "Oh my Lord, I am not eloquent in speech, or since you have spoken to your servant. Please send someone else." And the problem is a lot of us find ourselves in Moses' spot. We're so blinded by our shortcomings and our weaknesses that we can't focus on what the Lord wants to do. And then the Lord reminds Moses, it's a really good reminder, "Who has made man's mouth? Who makes him mute or deaf or seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what you have to speak." So not only is this like a good reminder for Moses, it's a good reminder to us that God doesn't always call the qualified, but He qualifies the called. That surely if He calls you to something, He will give you the training and the tools that you need for the job. And I know for me, there have been many times where I was called to something new and it really scared me. But if I would have said no, I would have missed out on the growth and the blessing that God wanted to do. So if you are afraid of answering God's call or you're struggling to find peace with God's call, I encourage you to remember that your Heavenly Father, He knows your needs, He knows your weaknesses, and He will provide for you just as He provided for Moses. He gave Moses the staff and Aaron to be His voice and show miracles and signs. And the enemy wants to use your weaknesses to stop you and shut you down, to prevent you from growth. But the Lord wants to use your weaknesses and display His power. So along with these things, here are 3 kind of P's that can help you find peace with God's plan. Number 1, praise in the presence of God. When you are glorifying God and remembering His greatness, your perspective changes. Your weakness becomes less significant and God's power increases. And then number 2, prayer. Pray that God would give you the strength and the tools. And remember, He says, asking you shall receive. Number 3, practice. Remember that practice makes progress. As you keep saying yes to God's plan, it seems to get easier because you see again and again that the Lord always prevails and comes through. So I have a little challenge for you guys. I want you to get a journal and I want you to pray and really seek the Lord in this. What is God calling you to do? And then second part of the challenge, what are some fears you're facing? And each day as you are entering this calling, pray specifically daily for these fears. And then number 3, keep saying yes, and He will do abundantly more than you could ever ask or imagine.
Hey CSM, thanks for tuning in today. Make sure you like this video.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell so you can stay up to date with all the videos we'll be uploading.
And we'd love to hear any comments about what God's been speaking to you through these Devos. So please leave a comment below, and we'd love to celebrate that with you. We'll see you next time.